Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. It is I, President Zarantonov again, coming here today once again with my good friend.
Yes, Chloe de Sancratosia, Sovereign Princess of the Principality of Sancratosia. Nice to be there again.
And it's brilliant to have you here once again. And this is part 2 of our review or roast of the infamous Kiel Week posters. And now, if you haven't seen part 1 yet, you should go click the link in the description and watch that. It was quite entertaining, I'd say. And we last left off 1979 with Kawaii, the complex design, and now we are moving on to the 80s with this particular design, which I have to say right away, this reminds me of Windows. What was this, like Windows XP? I vaguely remember from my childhood, like some Windows design that looked like this. Chloe, what do you say?
It also reminds me of the warning design you have with the diagonals that says danger. These are the two things. But yeah, I see.
Warning!
I see the recollection
do not attend. Do not attend. Do not come to this event.
And I think on this design we kind of lose the I don't see a recurring theme that has been happening with the sailing and stuff like that. With this design, it is too abstract that I don't really see the sailing. I don't see Germany.
Yeah.
I mean, it's designed for the sake of design.
We've had this issue before that there wasn't enough of a maritime context, and we've had a lot of maritime designs which, like, they the way they were made look kind of ominous and dangerous, and this is none of them. This is I mean, honestly, with it looking a bit like some sort of Windows design, I would, if I saw this and I didn't know what it said on the side there. Which also, like, we also had this issue before. The text isn't horizontal, it's vertical, as with this one. And here we actually know it's supposed to be vertical because you can see the text at the bottom, which is horizontal. So it's supposed to be like this. So that makes it more difficult to read already. But obviously, if you don't speak German, it's like the computer conference in Kiel. Let's go there, sure.
Yeah, and even if it were an horizontal design, I still don't get it. It would not give me any information on what it is.
Yeah, so Kiel Computer Week 1980. It was a great event, but there weren't many ships. Let's move on. Okay, so now we have a bit of a maritime theme again.
Yeah.
Although,
but it's a maritime design with a lot of LSD in the body. Don't stare at it too long, or you will have a headache.
Oh no, it's happening to me.
Yeah,
I'm being sucked into the void or into the sea.
There is kind of a vortex, that draws you in. If it's ships on the sea does not really look inviting.
Exactly. It looks again. That's what I just said. They had these maritime themes which didn't look inviting, which looked quite the opposite. This is one of them, I'd say. But maybe that's why it looks like they were trying to hypnotize you into going to the event. They've just given up on the design now, and they're just like to hypnotize you.
And the some of the colors are really, really muted with the big dark purple. It's just vibing really, really bad in my mind when I see it. I kind of have pulsating in my head. It's really I really don't like that one.
I think that's supposed to be blue.
It's
I don't know.
Whatever the color, it's the color scheme is not working for me.
Yeah. Also, how is that, like, what is the sea here? Like, are these complex shapes? Is that the sea, or is the background the sea? Because if the shapes are the sea, which I think they are, then why are half the little sails like off the waves? They just look like that's not how physics work. Mr. Brock, I'm afraid he got physics a bit wrong here.
and there's one thing though that we need to take into account, which makes that poster maybe even worse than it is that sometimes when posters were kind of grayish like this, it was not really gray. It was kind of a metallic color, or with
Mm-hmm.
some. And if it was the case, if that poster had been something really shiny and really kind of metallic looking, it would have been even worse than it is.
Oh
But
God, yes.
fortunately, we're only looking on a
Yeah,
screen. We don't know.
we've been spared from
um,
that view.
I know that in Montreal we had one where it was kind of a gray metallic design, and there's a stripe of rainbow colors in the middle.
Oh
It
dear.
doesn't really work well because you have the kind of metallic reverberation on the sides, and then you have a small narrow band of rainbow colors. It is just it's too much.
Yeah, quite right. Now, this is actually this is actually a poster. I have a little I have a little anecdote for, because at least I think I have, because if you
Hmm.
go, I'll probably put up a picture on screen right now of the actual thing. But if you walk
Hmm.
along the promenade by the seaside here in Kiel, the Kiel line as we call it, you'll see some big, I don't know how to call them, tubes, which look exactly like this, like just big tubes. For I think that it's also for. I don't think it's in these colors exactly, but the design on the tubes looks very similar to this. So I think they actually put these things up in person, either
Mm,
for Kiel Week or for something else, and then the poster was inspired by that.
yeah, and what's interesting is that no matter what inspired which, if it's the poster that
Mm.
inspired the tubes, or the tubes that inspired the poster, I could also see that as being really tall flags that you put along the side of the
Yeah,
walkway.
yeah,
This design is actually quite okay because
yeah.
you have all the information. It's really interesting. You have the special anniversary also,
Yeah, 100
which
years,
is a
which
which is
makes
a
me
nice
think
touch.
even more that the sculpture here has something to do with it. Because if you don't have 100
It's
years, that would make sense.
it's a
Um,
definite possibility. Yeah.
so I like, because as you said, this can be like seen as flags, as vertical
Mm.
flags, but you can also quite clearly see the sails in here. At least to me, it looks like
Oh yeah,
sails.
yeah, definitely.
I mean,
It looks like
yeah,
sails. You
unlike in some
have.
other designs, these look quite clearly like seals. And we also, yeah, no, I just like this a lot.
I just don't really like the dates being smaller and white, where when the other elements
Mm.
are gray and bigger. I figure that if you make the dates bigger, they are indeed much longer than the killer week information in the center, which is the longest text element you have.
Yes.
I don't know what would have been the best solution for that, but I feel like it's one of the most important and key element of the poster. It's the date.
Mm.
That it's the maybe the Yare could have been under the 100, and you would have the dates instead of Yare.
Mhm.
I think that could have been a way to do that, but I mean, for this, it's kind of trying to pick elements to criticize at this
Yeah.
point.
Yeah.
It's usually a great poster.
Yeah.
I believe.
This is a good poster. I
and
agree. This is
and the
actually,
colors.
honestly, this is actually something I would put up in my room.
Yeah,
This
the
is fine.
the the colors remind me of the Munich Olympic posters from 1972. These were the types of colors that they
Mm,
used.
that's true. That's true. I don't know if I mentioned this, but the sailing part of the Munich Olympics was actually carried out in Kiel.
Well, you see, maybe there's a link there.
Maybe there is. Yeah, we still have the Olympic flame. Well, not
Oh,
the
that's
flame
cool.
itself, but we have the structure for it.
Yeah, yeah, the cauldron. Yeah.
We have that, which doesn't actually look very nice. I must say that's another design they messed up, in my opinion. It's just a glass capsule with no interesting element to it whatsoever.
What's interesting is that, yeah, usually the sailing event is sometimes not exactly where the games happen, because you need a really wide body of water to do the sailing, and so they have to make a cauldron at the site, because they have an opening ceremony and a closing ceremony, which is usually the next day or the day before for both ceremonies. And in Montreal, the sailing was in Ontario, so not even in the same province of Quebec. But the cauldron over there is gorgeous. It's this
Ooh.
beautiful artwork. It's a big sculpture and everything. Whereas in Montreal, it was just a stainless steel big plate on a small tube. It really is
No,
not.
exactly.
I mean, there is this quite different designs. It's just funny to say to consider that in Kingston, Ontario, they may have a much a much better cauldron for the flame than what we had in Montreal.
Well, shout out to Kingston, Ontario for that.
Yes, yes. If you ever drive to Kingston, it's not the only thing there is to see, but one of the only things there is to see, and it's quite beautiful. It's still there.
All right, let's move on. Oh god. Oh no, this is like another. This looks like another
Yeah,
digital computer conference thing. Honestly,
I
they.
I it it feels like the predecessor of Clippy, the kind of
Yeah,
word
that's what I was
companion
thinking
we had.
too. This is like the Microsoft Office logo before they had Clippy. Oh
Yeah.
dear. And that might not even be like a sail. That could just be a shark, because when you're surfing the internet, you gotta watch out for the sharks, right?
It can be a shark. It can be a racetrack.
Yeah,
It
true.
can be many,
I mean,
many things.
in
It
any
could be
case,
a
that
knitting
yeah,
conference.
that thing is
Could
not
be.
enough to say this is about sailing. That's not enough, honestly.
Yeah, no,
That's just not
definitely. Yeah.
enough. That doesn't work. And I am not a fan of the colors either. They don't work well together, honestly. In the pattern, and the background doesn't match with that either.
Yeah, and the gradient is really 1980s. It was kind of experimenting with digital design and
Right.
new printing techniques, and gradient were like the new kid on the block, and so you have to put it
Oh yeah.
everywhere. It rarely works.
We've had a lot of those already too. Oh, this is like the design stereotypical for a time. I mean, it makes sense, Obviously, these are from the time
It's
period.
really 1980.
Yeah, but
It's
still.
reminiscent of the patterns. The colors are not, but it's reminiscent of the patterns you would have had from the 1980s.
Right. And oh, they now there's a big empty space in the middle.
Hmm.
Um, this looks like some sort of instructions, with the arrows.
It would work well as the guide effectively for how to sail a ship or something
Yeah,
like
this
that.
looks like a user manual. This looks like a
It's
colorful
a
user
good
manual.
cover book. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a good book cover. Um, I really like though the minimalist sailing boat. I think that is really really good. I would have preferred to see it bigger.
Hmm.
Um, I don't really mind the kind of colors on the side. They're really trying to
I just
direct
I just don't get
your
them. They're just so random,
yeah.
and like I
Well,
I'm a bit bothered by them, honestly.
I think that they work in framing the poster and putting all your attention into the center, because as soon as you see that they don't do anything, you kind of try to reframe yourself in everything that's there. But they probably would have been better ways to do that. Honestly, I think there are two or three colors that appear only once, and they could have not been there. I think the red and the yellow could stay. Maybe the green, or but the other colors need to go. That's for sure.
Hmm.
It's too much at one
Yeah,
point.
yeah, but it's better than a lot of the other posters we've had.
Oh, definitely, definitely.
I
It's
will give it that much.
as I say, I like the sailing, the minimalist sailing
Hmm.
boat. It's really really beautiful.
I
Um,
just that you take away the arrows maybe, and you could actually enlarge that boat, and you could actually do something with this poster.
oh yeah, definitely.
Okay, and now it's just back to blue and a bit of white.
and
Uh,
the gradient.
and the gradient, of course. So what is this supposed to be? Like, okay, well, once again, like maybe sailing boats, but honestly,
Ah, the gradient is the faux pas here. It's definitely not good.
oh my
Um,
god. No, I don't like this. This is not doing anything. This is not doing anything.
yeah,
It's just
it's
they gave
yeah.
up. They gave up halfway through the design again or something. Oh
Oh,
yeah,
definitely.
we've got the gradient. Let's just put a couple of zigzag things in the middle and call it a day.
I get that it wouldn't work without the gradient, but I could have seen maybe the gradient extending, blue at where the line crosses and white at the top, so
Mhm.
that you would have the cells going into the blue, and then you would have white at the top and at the bottom, or maybe you start with white in the center and then you blue at the edges for the other one. I think I would have reversed the gradient instead of
Yeah.
being on the horizontal side to have them on the vertical side, and the effect would have been, I think, much better. But the rest, the other information are there. It's okay, but yeah, I think the gradient
I
should
also
have been
don't like
reversed.
the way the sails are made. There's something
Yeah,
about it that really I really doesn't like. It doesn't appeal to me.
yeah.
Maybe there are too many. Maybe too small.
I think there could have been fewer and bigger
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah. Oh my god, this is well, it's a downward spiral from the. It's really a downward spiral. Now we are
Well,
at one again, which completely lacks any semblance of maritime context, because this could be anything. Like honestly, like at least with some of them, like oh yeah, it's a computer conference, but honestly, this could be literally anything. Like what? Honestly, what were they
the the
thinking?
on,
And
the only way it works.
Why is Kieler Woche on there twice?
Well, the only way it works is if you put it on the horizontal again. Again, I feel like so many of these posters could have been better if
Yeah.
they were put on the horizontal, which is not something that we usually do in poster. Usually posters are thought of being, vertical and
Yeah.
everything, but
And we
I
know
think
these are
some
supposed to be
designs can
vertical.
work. Yeah, exactly. But this one would have worked on the horizontal. It is a cell if you look it sideways. I
Yeah,
don't know
yeah.
why the information would appear twice. That to me is a mystery as well.
But even
But it,
even if you put it like if you turn around and make it horizontal, fair enough. You can see
yeah,
the sail. I'm not gonna recognize it's a sail in this format. I'm just not going to do
no.
it. I'm not gonna give it that satisfaction. If you
Hmm.
turn it horizontally, fair enough, it's a sail, but it's still not good enough. They still
Oh,
sort of should have done something with the sail, like
and
use it as a base. But for God's sake, put something. And why?
uh,
Yeah, why did they again? Why did they twice? Why is the kill rig at the
yeah,
top and the bottom?
yeah.
Like that's just
And
confusing.
is it me, or are there kind of green lines, or is it just a screen effect?
It's maybe it's a green effect. I don't know, but
Yeah, because I mean, is it text? I mean, the blurred lines on it doesn't work to me.
yeah, it's
That
not
is
well.
not
You can't
working.
even tell what the color in between is supposed to be. Let's
Exactly.
just
Yeah.
get away from this one. Oh, they have different lines now. uh, okay, I can kind of maybe see this as being like waves. Maybe
It's a calm sea.
it's a calm
That's for
sea.
sure.
Yeah, yeah,
It's really minimal in design. But yeah, you can see that it is the age, we've crossed for many posters now into the age of digital design and digital tools,
mm,
because repeating these symbols would have been, really time consuming. Before, you would
of
have had
course.
to use to use a Patreon and then cut the lines and then photograph the poster and everything. But you kind of see that with the straight lines and everything, we are entering into the digital age. It's actually the 1987 is the year that Photoshop comes into the market, but there were already a couple the programs before Photoshop that already that were already there, which is why you only see the gradients coming in the 1980s, because
Right,
you
right.
need you need the digital tools to have a gradient of colors to be applied that systematically
Mm.
on a poster. And yeah, I just see that this is, the and that's the thing with some of these posters. You will have that with Olympic posters also, but I think they are pushing the edge of what is technically possible with this design, and which is saying something. In 1987, that's probably the best you could do for a poster
Yeah.
with vector design or something like that. Or maybe it's raster, I don't know, but you are kind of showcasing what you can do with digital. But to me, I think that the repeated lines at some point create these illusions, and these optical illusions. And I
Mm.
think that less is more. I would have put maybe just a small band, not the entire poster, maybe more cells, and
Yeah.
that could have
I,
been
I,
it.
I, I agree with
The
the less is more aspect. This is the
Yeah,
more I look at the lines, the more I don't want to look at them.
yeah,
And that's
there's an
exactly
optical
that's what a poster
effect.
shouldn't make you do. If a poster is like, first you maybe you don't want to look at it, but then it grows on you. Okay, fair enough. At least it's got that
Yeah.
going for it. But if a poster, if it makes you want to look away, the more you look at it, that's exactly the opposite effect of what you want.
Exactly, and the other thing is that you have to also consider that the poster was not left alone on a white canvas in a museum. No, it was plastered many times around on construction sites, on buildings, on columns, everywhere.
Exactly.
That is the purpose of a poster in the days of mass marketing. So
Yeah,
a
there's no
poster is
internet.
never alone. So you would have seen a sea of white lines with these optical illusions,
Yeah.
and they would not line up perfectly, which is the thing when when you do mass marketing. The company that installed the poster is not measuring carefully that the lines match.
Mm.
So no, I believe that if you put them together, it's a lot.
Yeah, yeah. And now this one gives me strong Windows vibes again. Like very this
Yeah.
looks like this also reminds me a lot of Windows. I don't know if you get the same
Oh
feeling,
yeah.
Chloe, but yeah. So there
Oh
we go.
yeah, definitely.
Kiel Week 1980 is sponsored by Windows. I don't know what they had back then.
Yeah, it's again really 1980s, really
Oh
pinnacle
man.
of what we can do. I also remember, on Microsoft Paint, the small spray effect,
Oh no.
but this one is zoomed
There
in.
we go.
You're
Sponsored
really
by
really zoomed.
Microsoft.
Again. Yeah,
Uh,
that I kind of see the sales. I kind
yeah.
of I really like the effect with the line, and the that shows that
Yeah,
it's kind
that's
of
a
two
nice
sales,
effect.
but the effect on the other end, to me, it's giving off Microsoft vibes for sure.
Yeah, exactly. That's and I couldn't even fit the date on this one. What is this travesty? They June is upside down and the date isn't even on there. Like, okay, fair enough. I guess people would know what year it is, but still, like, it's all over the
we
place. You've got to twist and turn to actually see all the
yeah.
different dates. Like,
We kind of see also where the 1990s are going to go, with the random shapes put everywhere.
oh yeah, the 90s
The
started early
yellow
with this one.
triangles, I mean, are distraction at best. You remove them. The color squares don't have anything.
Yeah, what
Remove
is up
them.
with that?
I think it's the 1990s that is knocking to
Yeah,
the
they
door.
already they
It's
already
it's what's
started.
happening.
They're coming.
It's what's
They
happening.
came a year too soon.
Yeah.
Pointy
On
hats.
this one, On this one, if you know a little bit of your nautical
Oh
things,
yeah, it's
it's some
flags.
nautical flags.
It's nautical
These are
flags. I
nautical
get it now. I
flags.
get it now. Yeah.
Okay, but
Okay.
who knows that
I
it
didn't see it
is
immediately, but
nautical
now
flag?
I can see the nautical flags. Yeah.
But who knows? These are nautical flags. That's my point.
No,
It's a
no.
fun thing to put. Really nice. I like it as someone who loves flags and stuff like that. But it's really niche, I think, for a poster that is supposed to be like a general week
Mm.
for regular people who don't really know maybe about nauticality and nautical flags.
I
um
feel like they could have they did it's a good start, but again they should have added something else, you know. And what's
yeah.
up with that random red line all the way up in the top left?
Totally. And I think it does not help that they've put, well, it helps and it doesn't help. I mean, it's kind of interesting that the choice that they made is, let's keep it for the most part an empty poster, except that everything is in the same corner, and so the eyes are drawn to that
Mm.
side of the poster. So at least your focus
Fair
is
enough.
not everywhere on the page, it's on a small piece of the poster. But the dates are not the first thing that I see, and I
No,
think
no.
that's a problem for a poster that its only purpose is to present the dates.
Yeah, my eyes are drawn to the flags and the Kiel week thing. Oh yeah, that's what it's supposed to be. It's
Hmm.
like an afterthought.
And then the red random thing at the top.
Yeah, that just tops it off. Okay, they've got the sails back.
Yeah.
At least now
Um.
you can tell again it's something nautical, but I'm not the biggest fan of, like, obviously that's supposed to be waves, like just below the sails probably, but
Yeah.
I just don't like the way they did that border. It
Yeah.
just doesn't looks very strange. Could have been a bit
Um.
rounder, you know.
Yeah, there are a couple of things that I don't like for this poster. But I understand why they're here. I don't like the kind of yellow rays coming from the bottom part, but
Yeah.
I see that they frame the next cell. When you look at the
Mm.
first cell, you're like, okay, why it's there? But then you look at the second cell, and you're like, okay, it frames that it's
Mm.
not a continuous shape, but it's actually
Yeah.
four cells
Yeah.
and it's going backwards. I It's kind of a third page effect
Yeah.
for the waves. I'm not a fan of this. It's probably an effect that
Oh my
was
god.
made available on a digital program and that everyone was abusing. Like every time there's a new thing, like let's say generation of images by AI, then everyone is doing that, and then it just becomes redundant. And
Mm.
I have a feeling that the page tearing effect was something that probably was big in 1991. Everyone was doing it, and so they've done this there because it doesn't add anything to the design. I think that framing the black lines and the kind of colors between the cells is interesting, but I just don't get why they're not lined up. I think it could have been like the horizon, but if it's not the horizon, I don't know what it is, and I just don't get the choice
Yeah, it's
for
very
the
strange.
yellow, purple, and red.
The biggest thing I don't like is the, like, except after the tearing effect, is the black lines. Like
Yeah. Well,
they
maybe the lines could have been white or something. Probably another color for sure.
yeah
Black is a bit too on the nose
yeah
for
it
that
just
type of
looks very
design.
strange.
And I don't like that the 1991 falls into two squares. Same for the month of June. Yeah, no, it doesn't work for me, especially it's four characters each. They could have fit into a square each. There are a couple of things that I don't like about this one.
Mm. Let's move on. Oh God, where did which kindergarten did they steal this one from?
Oh
That's
my
nice.
gosh, exactly.
This is like a kindergarten in Kiel did like a design competition. Oh, let's design a Kiel Week poster, and then the winner of that one, they actually picked it for the Kiel Week. Uh, that's not the actual background story. I just made that up, but that's what it looks like. Happened
Oh
here.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Jesus Christ. And
I
I don't think Professor Hans Günther Schmitz was a 5-year-old child when he did this. I'm just going to assume that one.
And once again, with the wonkiness of some of the lines that I see, but some being straight and some not being straight, I have a feeling that this is, once again, technological showcasing
Right.
of a victorized program with a stylus, because some of the lines are really wonky, but some of the lines are really, really straight. I feel like this is okay. Yeah, I just purchased a stylus for my computer. There's this new Victor design. What can I do with it? Oh, bam, 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 I've done that. Wow, it's
What?
wonderful what it can do. And I submit that and they choose it. I really don't like that the cell is being cut a little bit by one of the, I assume, blue sun. I
The
don't
blue
know what
sun.
it
Didn't you
is.
know the sun is blue here?
The whatever the explosion
The
happening over
explosion.
the
Oh,
sails is
I see
happening.
what it is supposed to be now. It's an explosion and like the sailing boat is being thrown out of the water. Yes, it makes so much
Maybe it's
sense.
that, maybe there's an explosion, the waves are being pushed on the side of the wall, and then the
Yeah.
sailing boat is being pushed and destroyed by the shrapnel that is coming out
Yeah,
of the
yeah.
explosion.
If you actually knew your Kiel history, you know 1992 is when they did
Yeah.
nuclear tests here in the base. So this is.
Exactly. So I think this is, showcasing the technology of 1992,
Hmm.
but it's really 1990s, kind of pastel colors, kind of, random shapes, kind of nondescript things, really
Oh,
1990s.
I can't wait to see what posters we get once we get to the 2000s.
Yeah.
Okay, now Kiel is being submerged below the waves for its many design sins against nature.
Yeah. and,
Yeah,
and once again we have the third page
they
effect.
went for it again.
um it's an interesting thing when you have Photoshop. I think is the one that has the effect. It's a, because it's a randomized thing that happens, and so yeah, it's a technological thing that you can have something that is kind of truly random on a program that is designed for that.
Hmm.
I actually would have preferred to have just the colored lines, the name, and without the waves effect, or maybe something that is less random. I would have preferred waves that maybe look like sails or something like that. Could have been
Yeah,
better,
but
but
even with the tearing effect, it once again lacks. This one lacks any maritime context, I'd say.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. It
Like,
could be a mountain. The random effect is it has been used to represent mountains, has been used in this case to
yeah.
represent water. It's
Even
been
if it
used to represent
represents,
third pages and
even if it represent water, there's a lot of events related to water. This looks
oh
more
yeah,
like,
yeah,
oh yeah, this is like global warming week, or because we're gonna be underwater soon, or this is like nature documentary week. It's gonna be
yeah.
about the sea. This doesn't scream
They,
to me. Oh, we are
they,
celebrating sealing. Something is being submerged below the waves here. Maybe it's for the better too.
this could be a crowd baptism for all I
Oh
care.
yeah.
It could be many many things. I think there could have been a small white triangle somewhere would have done
A crowd
tremendous things too.
baptism.
Yeah, well, yeah, it happens. It happens.
Maybe over in America it happens.
I know it happened at the Olympic Stadium in Montreal. The big
On the end.
Jehovah's Witness conference, and then they did a big crowd baptism in the Olympic pools. So anything can happen
I
when
see that now. All right, so we got sales again. Not much else though.
yeah.
This honestly looks a bit. This honestly looks. Because you just mentioned it could be mountains. This honestly looks a bit more like mountains to me. If you just
Oh yeah,
tilted it a bit more, it would just be mountains. Honestly, this.
yeah.
Yeah. This. Because I have seen logos in the Alps for like ski lifts and things like that that look very similar
Hmm.
to this one.
Yeah.
Very similar. It's a very
Uh,
popular motive.
yeah. I like the effect of the cells with the dates. It's interesting. But I think that the colors it should have been the colors of the German flag. Uh,
Mm.
it's so close to being that. I
Yeah,
mean,
just threw a
just
little
make
green
it,
in
and
there.
yeah, just make it the colors of the German flag, and call it like that.
This is more Jamaica than Germany right now.
Yeah, yeah. There's this small Jamaican incursion into.
This is when they did a partnership with Jamaica.
Exactly.
Oh man. Oh dear God. So if you don't have any idea that this is supposed to be Kiel week, you're gonna have a fun time puzzling that together.
Yeah, and also you have to know that the yellow dot is the dot of an eye because
Yeah,
it could just
yeah.
be a L.
And
Um,
it's really easy to overlook the E, and you might just think, oh, the date, it's supposed to be another line. So if you overlook the E and you take this another line, it's actually Killer Week.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. That's what I was going to say. So it's almost a construct your own poster and
Construct your own
ideas of what
poster.
it is. Yeah, I don't like that at all. Once again, why the yellow, the red, and the green? Why the green? Why not something like black, the flag of Germany or something?
Flag of
Maybe it would
Germany.
have not been that good. But yes, I see Killer Week. I don't see the in or I see the Killer E week or something like that. But I don't see the Killer Week.
Yeah, this is just puzzling. You puzzle, make your own poster. Yeah, that.
It's a puzzle.
Oh, and they kept a bit of the.
It's a
Yeah.
yeah. It's a puzzling puzzle and a
Yeah.
puzzle in itself.
And they kept a bit of the puzzle in here too, I have a feeling.
But
Certainly lots of different shapes.
the
Uh,
yeah, the puzzle is the shapes. The puzzle is the
yeah,
shapes.
at least the Kieler Woche is spelled out here, but it's still a bit puzzling, what exactly that mean with all of those shapes.
Yeah. And I don't see the reference to sailing.
Yeah, it's because
I
like
see.
if it just was the sails, like in some other posters you could
Yeah,
kind of understand it, but with all of these different shapes thrown in, all of the shapes lose their meaning. Like this has no meaning anymore. This is just a thing, Someone just throw a bunch of shapes in there and yeah, use this for what you could again. You could use this for anything.
yeah. And for some of the vibrancy of the colors, to me, it almost looks like something that you would advertise to children. Here are
Mm.
some wood blocks of triangles and circles, and go play
Uh,
with that. It's
oh, the colorful shapes. You like those?
yeah, exactly. Yeah, to me it is reminiscent of something like that.
Okay, something got lost along the way here. Things were going well, and then there was some kind of white line, and then things spiral out of control, and that's the metaphor for these posters, for most of these
Yeah.
posters I have a feeling, and same thing for this one. If you
To
know
to,
this
to
is a maritime event, you could probably give it some sort of maritime meaning, but
yeah.
what it like is the line supposed to be a sail, or is that supposed to something else? Because I'm genuinely puzzled here.
What I feel like I'm looking at is a weather alert. This is the cold front going,
This is the
and
weather fog.
it's the weather front that is moving that way, and then it's going to do a somersault. And it's
Yeah.
still going to continue down your way.
Oh
The
God.
weather next week is going to be 25 degrees, and it's going to be sunny and rainy.
I don't
To
know.
me,
I don't see 25 degrees when I look at this weather. I see a lot of wind and a lot of rain, which fair enough. That's what Kiel is all about, but that's not how you want to advertise your maritime event. I feel.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't see it.
I,
It's and especially the somersaulting arrow after. What's the deal there?
yeah.
Because the boats are not gonna do this move too. I mean, it's
Maybe they did it in 1980s, 1997. Maybe that was a special feature. So yeah, people, Leonie, thank you for the weather forecast, but no thanks. uh, K. K week. They shortened it to just K
yeah.
week, you know.
Hmm.
uh,
But this is one of the design I think I remember talking into the first episode where that is I think something that is really clever to use the K as a means to put the sail. To
yeah.
me, I think that's clever. It's the first time I think someone does that. To have recognized that, and with of course, it's really 1990s. There's the gradient into the K.
The rainbow colors.
There is the opacity into the killer week,
Yeah.
and there's of course the word art at the bottom. So
I
it's
I
like the first preset on Microsoft Word art. It's
I get I get it's a bit clever with the K, but I just don't like the K. I just don't
uh,
like it. Maybe it's a
yeah,
personal thing, but I just don't like it. Even with the clever sail thing,
yeah.
I'm just not a fan. And with the because it's like rainbow colored and gradient, the 8, the 28 really
Oh yeah, yeah,
you can't
yeah.
almost can't tell that's supposed to be a 2020. Honestly, if you look at it from afar, this could also be like a 2026.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Not a
Definitely,
2026,
yeah.
26. Uh,
We,
you
it's one of the
can't
reason that
tell. Or
Microsoft Word art is not considered good design when you use it,
oh man.
because you oversee a couple of these things, like, oh,
Hmm.
you don't see the dates, and
Yeah.
but once again, it's because that is what technology allowed us in 1990s, in 1998,
So they
and
had to
so
try it out.
let's showcase what we can do. Yeah.
Oh no, it's the shape. The shapes are back with a vengeance. Oh, what? Why? Why is this? This is that's just like two designs or two designs back when we had different colorful shapes and no meaning at all. Yeah,
Yeah.
this has no meaning. This has no. You can't tell me there's supposed to be meaning in there.
To me, it's, do you need help playing pool? Because I don't think you understand the rules. If you're playing pool that way, you're playing
You're not
wrong.
supposed to throw E's and L's in there.
No, and the triangles have no place on a pool table,
Why are some of the
and
why are some of the pool cues bent?
yeah, you've been playing too hard if you
Yeah.
bend your
If
pool
this is
cue.
if this is what your
Um,
pool game looks like, you should get help.
and or the other thing, this is a really nice looking bento box for the sushis that you're bringing for lunch. Thank you for the sushis, and we'll see you for the sushi week in Kiel.
Well, other than that, it's let's
Yeah.
get on with it. Uh, okay. I
Well,
just don't
the
like it. It doesn't appeal to me.
yeah,
I, I,
$2,000.
I see it's 2000. Yeah, I said earlier I'm curious to see what happens when we get to the 2000s. Um, yeah, my curiosity has been satiated very very quickly, and I am severely disappointed. But again, I wasn't expecting much. You can see the sail, and you can maybe you could maybe say, oh, it's supposed to be the horizon, reflecting like the sail,
Yeah.
but
Well,
even
the
yeah.
thing is that the cell is not on the horizon. The horizon
Exactly.
is clearly marked
They
above.
got it wrong. They
Um,
got also there are three
I
suns.
Yeah, yeah. I would have kept only the yellow sun. It would have worked
Yeah.
wonderfully. Get rid of the pink circles. They don't add anything.
No, the other circles are just useless.
It could have been so much better.
It could have been
But
better, but they messed things up.
unfortunately, they
Yeah.
wanted to showcase a couple of things, like to place. There's a lot of faux pas, I think, on this design as
I
well.
really have a feeling that these posters are just there to showcase some new technological development, design development,
It,
and that's their
for
only literally their only purpose. Because if they're trying to advertise an actual event, I think they most of them completely and utterly failed. And
it's been
yeah.
some time in our review of these posters that these posters lost their main purpose to being advertisement for something, which
Yeah.
was the case, a
Well, you
long
can't
time
really
ago.
say they lost their main purpose because the posters for Kiel Week never had that main purpose. I mean, from the very
Yeah.
beginning, they completely failed at advertising what the event was even about.
Uh, in some of the first posters, that's kind of debatable, but
I
at
get that.
one
Yeah,
point it just becomes a design contest for the sake
yeah,
of a
there's
design
some
contest.
outliers, but let's think back to the very first poster with the flags and that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No,
Yeah,
it was not obvious at first, but you can still see at the beginning that there's an effort to kind of, at least put the most important stuff
mm,
forward and everything, and not try to make it um, for the design's sake.
yeah. Oh dear God.
Like this.
This is really 2000s. We're way into the new millennium, and yeah, what were they trying to go for here? Can you please interpret this for me, Chloe? Because I don't know.
To me, it looks like the rolls of breaking tape that you can buy.
Tape Tape
And so
Con
they've just
2001.
unfolded it. But yeah, it's something that you can now do on InDesign quite easily in about 2 minutes. I could definitely replicate that poster in a couple of minutes, and I, I think that's that. It's just oh yeah, we can have some repeating patterns really close, and
It's just what we were talking
it's
about a moment
yeah, and
ago.
and 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 where the bands intersect, it just gives me optical illusions and
Yeah,
headaches, and it's not working for me.
this is nothing you wanna look at for too long, so let's not look at it for too long. Oh, and let's move on to something which is very, very different from what we previously had.
Yeah,
And this
yeah,
one I actually really like. Like,
I agree
this
with
is
you.
maritime immediately. You've got a little signal flags. You've got on a little barrel. It's really cute and it's
Yeah.
maritime. This is actually, I would say, almost perfect.
It's when you pictures or when you take pictures of something, it's usually good, and the composition is really nice. You have the dates in an international format,
Hmm.
which is quite simple. I just don't like that the dots are kind of randomized after the there's only one dot that is next to the six,
That's very
but the other dots
confusing.
are kind of sparsely
Oh,
or
I thought that was just.
separated.
I thought that was just dirt on my computer screen. I didn't know that was supposed to be dots.
You know what? If I were to see that poster in real life, I would have tried to wipe out the dirt, and
Yeah,
until I
yeah. I
realized.
would honestly, if I saw this, like, just, I see this poster, I think, oh, that's like a fragment on
Yeah,
my computer screen, or this is like, if I saw it in real life, oh, some dirt got on the poster, or maybe they did a
yeah,
printing error. That's not. That doesn't look like it's part of the poster. That look like something went
exactly.
wrong. But
But apart from that,
yeah,
I mean, taking a picture of something that is vintage, that is, quite representative of your event, you can rarely go wrong with that because there's no ambiguity to what it is. And so I
exactly.
think it's a lovely design.
Yeah, I fully. What the heck is this? Wait, is this the
And
same?
then you
Is this the same one?
have,
Hold on, is this 2002? Oh, they actually
yeah.
had multiple posters for 2002. Oh, wait.
Ah, I see.
So
I
it's a
see. I see.
series of posters. Okay, so yeah, if this was the only poster for 2002, it would have been perfect. But this gives it a lot of minus points because what is this? What does
Yeah,
this say about Kiel Week? Oh, this is
exactly.
Kiel Week, the event where people lose their shoes because they get so drunk in the evening. I mean, it's true, but you
Yeah.
don't have to advertise it that way.
And I think there are full posters. The first one we saw was the number 4, so I think there's the two, three,
So
four.
this is
So there's
2001.
probably one.
Oh,
So
and
that's the
this is
2002
also
one.
part. This is also a part of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which you can
So
just forget
we
about.
we, we yeah, because we see the repeating patterns of the dots, which I really don't
Yeah.
like.
Just use. I'm gonna use this
Yeah,
perfect. Just use the guy on the barrel, and you're fine. You don't need all of these different posters.
yeah.
You really do not. And
Hmm.
the fact that we have multiple. I don't know if we had that before.
No,
Um,
I think it's the first
no,
time.
but we are gonna have that again. That's not the last one that does that.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
I
I've seen
think
that. Yeah,
it's the yeah. It's not gonna be the
2021. Yeah.
It's not only that one. They actually missed one of them. But let's move on to 2003, and the
Yeah.
sailing boats are they're just jumping all about the place. You know, it's. So
And
this was actually we shouldn't actually make fun of. This was a big tragedy in 2003 because they built their sailing boats so light they just flew away. It was a big tragedy. Nobody knows where they ended up. Honestly, they could have flown all the way to Canada. Who knows?
and what's funny is that the first tale
Mm.
kind of makes a K, so that's interesting, but there's
Kind
an
of.
M that I see.
Where's there an
Well, I
M?
see an M.
I don't see
If
that.
you start from the first tale at the bottom right, and then you continue until you join up the sail, and then you go down, and then you go
That's
up,
a
and then
big
you go down.
stretch. That's a big stretch.
It's a big stretch. But some would argue that you would see the W with the 3 points also. But I
Okay,
mean,
but what's the W?
uh,
Okay,
yeah,
for Kilo Week. Yeah, but
Killer
that's
Week,
honestly.
yeah. But I mean, I don't think that's intentional. I think that's just me trying
I
to find
think
a purpose for this
you
design.
could interpret multiple letters into this, multiple different things. It's
Yeah,
just yeah, it's like they made the base of the poster again. It's like it looks for me like they quit halfway through the design. They make the base for it and then they imported, they imported different shapes into the program and then just stopped and they didn't put the shapes into the right
yeah,
place.
yeah. And the fact that some of the cells are kind of, falling, that makes me think that the last one is actually a boat that is sinking, since it's really, really, farther.
What
Maybe it's
is it?
a
What is
cross
it?
section.
What is it with the sinking theme with these pictures? Like tsunami, we've had tsunamis, we've had storms, we've had weather forecasts, we've had boats sinking. What is it with these posters trying to advertise an apocalyptic event? You know?
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe they all wish the killer week will end, and
Oh my god,
oh
we've got an actual sponsorship on the poster. Oh no.
yeah.
So the sailing event is sponsored by BMW and they couldn't even have the BMW poster be the right way around. What the
Yeah.
actual heck is this?
No, and to me, once you have these types of things, I understand that the corporate world is the world we live in now, but
But at
I
least
and I
like
and I, and I see that most of them will have them after that. But to me, that's
yeah.
the beginning of the end of good design, because from that moment there is a big constraint. You have to have
Yeah.
something that you don't want on your poster to be there.
But
We'll see how they resolve that in the next
mhm.
posters, but to me, that's a no no.
But at the very least, like, why is the BMW logo the wrong way? Like, why isn't it
Well, that to
upright?
me,
At the very
that to
least,
me is
like, just seems like an insult to BMW. Thanks for sponsoring, I guess, but we're not gonna bother
yeah.
putting your logo the wrong way around, you know?
But then again, if you look at it sideways, it works. But then all the other things don't work. So
Yeah,
I don't
it's
know.
this is utter stupidity, and let go.
Yes.
So this is actually the aftermath to this one. Yeah, this is when things were
Yeah.
spiraling out of control, and this is where the flood came and they washed everything away.
Yeah.
So Kiel is this is Kiel being washed away in 2005. Uh,
Yeah.
I mean, I do like the colors a lot. The colors are very lovely. I like the
Hmm.
shades of blue they were using, and at least the BMW logo, at least it's up right now. Um,
Yeah,
that's that one good thing the flood did, besides washing Kiel away, um,
yeah,
as it should have done a long time ago. Is Century is actually putting the BMW logo upright.
yeah.
Um, I'm
And
not sure how I feel about Kiel Week being all over the place.
yeah. The way I look at it, I have the feeling, and maybe that's something that had happens once you get sponsorship. But
Hmm.
I have the feeling that the blue and the white are the colors of BMW, which I know they're also the colors of the flag of
Bavaria.
Bavaria. So I know that the flag came before BMW, but it was this the reason the colors were chosen, or was it in honor of Bavaria? I mean,
It's just white and blue.
it
You're probably talking why it's
but
such
it's
a
a beautiful.
yeah, why is the shade of blue so bright? But I just think it's better than using dark blue because if you don't use
Oh
dark
yeah,
blue
yeah, yeah,
correctly, can have this dark and foreboding tone. But with
yeah, yeah.
bright blue, you can't make too many mistakes.
No, and we'll see that the solution that they've taken is to actually put all the sponsorship at the bottom, which
Yeah.
is quite standard nowadays. I hate it because a poster is, especially when it's a design contest, should leave the entirety of the page up to the artist and not have something like this because
I
I think it restricts kind of the designs you would choose because you know that if you design at the bottom the logo will break the effect that you will try to have at the bottom. So I feel that we won't see that many posters who try to do things like we've seen in the other posters,
yeah,
people trying to have elements near the bottom. So I think it restricts a lot of the
absolutely.
artist's perspective. I don't like that Healer is actually in two colors. To
Mm.
me, it diverts from being able to read it, and the scrambling of letters is terrible for people
Yeah,
with
they could have
uh
integrated better into the waves. That would have been quite nice, I think.
yeah,
That would have made for a
yeah.
decent poster. Something I didn't point out with the last poster, but which I wanted to say about BMW specifically is, first of all, why is like sponsorship is a sponsorship, fair enough, but why is there why is a Bavarian motor company from the other part of Germany, literally the opposite of Germany, sponsoring a sailing event? That
Yeah.
doesn't make any sense to me. Like BMW, what does BMW have to do with sailing? Sailing is literally you don't use motors. It doesn't have anything to do with sailing.
Well, actually, I think BMW manufactures sailing boat motors.
They do.
I think they do. So I think that's
Just
why there's a link.
okay,
But
fair enough. If they do that,
I, I am still wary that the light blue and the white were chosen
okay,
to
fair.
be more closely, in harmony with the BMW logo, which would be, I think, an infringement
I
of the
don't
on
I
the
don't mind that.
artists.
It's just I mean I don't know anything about
I agree, I agree,
BMW
but
sponsoring sailing
it's
motors.
it,
If
yeah,
that's the case, fair enough. It just looks a bit strange to me, honestly.
yeah,
um. Oh God, we've entered the digital era. this
yeah.
is this is the Matrix. This is the 2006, the kill year in the Matrix. Everybody got a VR headset, and then it was off into the digital sailing experience.
Um, I have the feeling that this represents classes of sailing boats.
Yeah.
For people who don't know, and even at the Olympic Games, you usually have 4 or 5 classes of sailing boats that compete, and they change every 2 or 3 Olympics. Probably the same at the Killer Week. I
But
don't think that they always,
I have
but
I
it's too cluttered.
yeah,
That's for sure.
they could have represented it in a much better way than
Um,
this, and it looks so digital, like
yeah.
looks like some kind of
I,
internet convention.
you should look at the Montreal's Olympic poster for sailing, where they represented each of the five classes that competed in Montreal's game. It's basically five sailing boats on a, well, on a rainbow colored wave. Uh, can hurt your eyes on that, but and they all have the symbol because each class is represented by a symbol.
Mm-hmm.
And so that actually makes it really a beautiful design to look at, and that informs the viewer that these are going to be the five classes of boats that we're going to see.
Once
But over
again,
here, it's too cluttered. Yeah.
Canada, Canada's doing it a lot better. Just like with the
Well,
flag.
we had a great designer working on the
Ah,
Olympics in 1976, which in turn was inspired by what happened in Munich in 1972,
yeah. Well,
when
I'm not.
it was
I said I wasn't a big fan of the Munich, but let's actually Montreal, 1970, 19 what? 1976.
1976
Yeah. Yeah. That's actually one of the Olympic logos I really like.
sailing
Uh,
poster, because
the
that will
but
help you.
I also really like the standard design. You know, this is quite a beautiful design, I would say. The uh, the 76 Olympic design.
Yeah, but look at the sailing poster.
The sailing poster. Let's have a look. Oh yeah, that's so nice.
Or six classes. I said the five classes,
Yeah,
but
there we go. Kingston,
yeah,
1976. Yeah, that's how
yeah,
you do
yeah.
it. That's how you do it. That's quite lovely.
Yeah. So you have the waves, you have the multicolor, the rainbow that is actually a recurring theme in Montreal in 1976. And on each of the cells, you have the different classes. So you have the Flying Dutchman, you have the dinghy, you have the 470, you have the Tornado class, Tempest, and there's one that I don't remember exactly, or maybe it's the catamaran class or something like that. But you see they all each have their logo and their sails are represented, so you have, kind of an idea of what you're going to see at the Olympics in Kingston in 1976. Backdrop is light cloudy sky, just nice weather for winds
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
sailing.
See,
So
this isn't weather forecast, rain and storm and stuff. This
no,
is like weather
exactly, yeah.
forecast. Oh, it's a
it's
bit cloud. It's nice cloudy, but it's like white clouds. It's nice cloudy weather,
it's
perfect for
it's a
sailing.
peaceful
Yeah.
Canadian summer.
Exactly. Exactly. Unlike the digital Kiel storm.
No, that is not how you represent classes of sailing.
No. Oh no. Oh yeah, we were just talking about the rain. Now the rains have come and they've washed away. Uh, they've washed away the poster. Jesus Christ.
Oh
Oh
my
no.
gosh. Um,
Oh no. Well, this doesn't look like water, like sea sailing. This looks like rain. This is just rain.
yeah, yeah. Uh, I like that it makes 125, but that's the only thing that I like.
I
It's
agree.
it's it's
I
it's
agree.
the only nice thing, but I mean there could have been so many other shapes to take.
So many
Uh,
other colors. Like, why is the brown down here? What's with the
the
brown?
brown, I hate it. And that's the thing with posters with companies. The Freenet logo is horrible, the colors arc, so it just brings down the poster even more.
Yeah.
And to me, that's the thing when you introduce sponsorship on posters, is that you could try a color scheme and it will not work because of the sponsors. I don't know that this is the kind of brown is the first color that they thought. Maybe other colors could not work because of the orange green that Freenet used.
I don't know. I feel
um
if they had just used red instead of brown, they would have had the colors of Kiel and of Schleswig-Holstein represented.
yeah, yeah,
Schleswig-Holstein being the federal state in which Kiel lies, they would have both of the
yeah, yeah.
colors. They would have been perfect for the colors at least. Um,
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, that's why I think. Well, I think it was still a little bit motivated by the sponsorship, but
Mm.
still. Well, yeah,
And
yeah.
now we've got more weather forecasts, or maybe these are supposed to be. This looks like Chloe, help me out here.
It's a whirlpool. You're gonna be you're stuck in a hurricane.
You're gonna be sucked into the
It's
whirlpool.
the
This is honestly Kiel Week is just, if you're just going off the posters, Kiel Week is just, developing into the Hunger Games of sailing. This year we have the whirlpool.
this is a life or death
Escape the
situation.
whirlpool.
Yeah.
Oh
This
my
is a life or
god.
death
This
situation.
is
To
a
me,
life or
no, that is
Kiel Week is a
and
life or death situation. Sponsored
yeah.
by BMW. If you make it out, you get a free car.
And I hope that
Uh,
Debitel works in high seas because sometimes the coverage is not good, and if you cannot call for help, you're on your own.
yeah.
I have to say though, I think it's the first time for some time that we see another typography used. I
Yeah.
think it's Helvetica or something like that that we see at top, and but maybe not for the dates. The one does not look like Helvetica. It kind of looks like Arial. But I mean, it's nice to see a break from the classic universe. Universe is a beautiful, beautiful typeface designed by Adrian Frutiger in Switzerland. It's probably my favorite typeface, but it's nice to see something else for a change.
All right, and there we go. Now this is something that's actually this is actually also part of a multiple poster series. I have to look it up. Kieler Woche
Yeah,
2009, because plakat, because they also had a series of multiple designs for this one. I remember,
mm-hmm.
which was quite lovely. And is it?
Yeah,
They used to have like a. I think this. No, this is very low resolution. I don't know why you don't have. Maybe you
yeah.
can see it a bit. You can see it. You can see it a bit here. They had a lot of different designs to go along with it,
Mm-hmm.
which all look quite lovely in my opinion. But let's go. Let's go
Yeah,
back to
yeah,
the main design here, which,
yeah,
I mean, again, the sailor with the instrument, whatever he's playing, it's adorable. The sailing boat, and
yeah,
like,
yeah.
I complained about the physics before, like the sail was flying all over the place. Here it's actually brilliant.
But it's because it's kind of like a cartoonist thing
Yeah,
that you kind
yeah.
of accept that it can deviate from physics. The other ones are kind of design representations, and so you kind of have this, it needs to kind of abide by physics
Mm.
rule. But over here, because of the kind of cartoonish nature of the character, you are kind of expected that this is a fantasy world. But looking at the other posters, I mean, you've seen some other classes of ships and stuff like that, and that's the way to do things. It's absolutely lovely. I chuckled a little, but when you showed the poster, but it's because I think it's really adorable, really
Yeah.
cute, simple shaped.
And the
There's
colors,
no,
the colors
no.
work brilliantly together.
Yeah, it's a beautiful kind of monochromatic color scheme with tints of blue. It's just wonderful, and you kind of want to join the fun that the little sailing guy has playing his
See,
instrument.
this one makes you wanna sail. Uh,
Yeah. The
this one already.
hurricane one makes you want to
This one,
evade
yeah.
it.
These ones want to make you make you get back to land and avoid the maelstrom that's gonna suck you in.
Oh, exactly. If I see that on my radar screen, if I'm sailing,
Yeah.
I bleed out.
So if any future Kiel Week designers are watching, don't do this. Do this instead. You don't no
Yeah.
Maelstrom. More like happy things. And again, if we look like at the other designs, um,
Oh, yeah.
they also work beautifully. It's lots
I
of
mean,
maritime themes. The cartoony sailor figurines, the mermaids. It's just brilliant in my opinion.
it's all nautically themed,
Yeah.
and it's really nice. They kind of have the same aesthetic,
Exactly.
and
Exactly.
it's beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah.
Probably took
It's
an awful lot of time, but it's wonderful.
You could do so much with this. Um, Now this one's actually not Kieler Woche. This is actually Kieler Woche.
It's a really long web address that you have to go see the website.
This is the special German
What's the
internet we
address?
have.
It's
Oh no.
www, and it's a never-ending
That's so long.
W.
Yeah, good luck entering
Um,
that one into your web browser.
yeah,
uh,
I don't, but
it's supposed to be
I,
waves. I'm fairly certain, but
yeah, 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 yeah.
it's just no. They didn't implement this. They did
I
they
think I would have
they
done it for
finished it.
just two lines, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah. They went
but
overkill.
for the entire
They had the
poster,
idea,
nah.
and then what if we take that idea, but we do it the whole poster like that?
And now we have new sponsors. We have Veolia, which is I think a public
No
transit
idea.
company,
It says
and
Umweltservice, environmental service. I have no idea what that's supposed to
okay,
mean.
so I think Veolia here is doing kind of public
And it's no
transit
longer
stuff.
BMW. Now it's sponsored by Audi.
It's Audi, which I'm pretty certain don't manufacture
I have
selling
no
boat
idea, but
motors. But BMW like is making a couple of other things than just cars, but I don't think that Audi is doing other things than cars.
God knows what they
But I
do.
could be mistaken. I could be mistaken.
What in God's name happened here? Let's use every color we can. Every single one
And
of them.
mix them to the point where it looks like a unicorn barfed on the poster. To
So
me,
this is
yeah, yeah.
this is Pride Week 2011.
Well, it probably will work for Pride Week 2071 when we had the 3D genders and stuff like
The
that.
3D
And
genders. Jesus
yeah,
Christ.
I'm joking. I love the fact that the community is growing and that we find new that we incorporate new ideas and new orientations and sexual identities into Pride. But this
Well,
is not Pride. This is
I mean, it wasn't. It
the
wasn't. I'm fairly
anti
certain
Pride.
it wasn't supposed to be Pride either. That was just.
No, no, and it's
That was
anti
just a
Pride. I
joke.
mean, to the point where it becomes dark and
Yeah,
it
it's
mixes into dark colors. To me, no, it does not represent fun.
yeah. Again. This isn't fun. It's like, oh, it's going down the dark side.
Yeah,
This is the
exactly,
dark side
exactly.
coming to take you and drag you into Davy Jones' lockers.
And once again does not say much about what's happening during the
Yeah,
week.
what's happening here? What is this?
Somebody
This is
dropped some
screaming.
paint.
Don't come too close.
Somebody,
Don't come too close.
yeah,
This is not fun. But it's not entertaining
yeah,
as what exactly. It's yeah. I This is actually the first Kiel week where I vividly remember the poster, and I actually hated this poster back in the day as a little child. I was 12 years old. No, I was 11 years old back then, and
mm-hmm,
I really didn't like the poster. But over the years, I must admit, because what came after was mostly terrible. Spoilers. I'm sorry, spoilers.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
What came after it was mostly terrible, so it kind of grew on me a little bit because comparatively it
yeah.
was actually quite good, and I kind of like the idea of the sale. I just um
But to
yeah.
me, it's a hot air balloon. It's not a sail.
Yeah, that's the only thing. You could also say it's a hot air balloon. I guess you gotta know it's a
Yeah,
sail.
yeah.
Um.
But again,
So
and
so
why
for
the
Kill
orange?
Week standards, this is quite good. But yeah, it could also
Yeah.
be a
Oh
hot
yeah,
air
yeah, yeah.
balloon.
Compared to many other designs, it's okay. But why the orange? To me, that's the mystery.
Yeah. And now this is one of maybe my second favorite poster after the little cartoon sailor guy.
Yeah.
I really, really, really love this one. This is beautiful. This is absolutely. It's got the boats. It's got the waves. It's got a sea. Is there a sea monster in there? I don't know. You could kind of see
Yeah.
shapes in there, but not in like the bad way. Oh, it's gonna trying to confuse you with an optical
Yeah.
illusion.
Yeah.
That kind of looks like a sea serpent a little bit there, but you're not
Mm-hmm.
quite sure. It's like this obscure mystery. Goes for the style of old maps, obviously. It's got the
Yeah.
guy blowing the wind in the top left. It's
Yeah.
got a bit of that funfair thing that Kiel Week is known for nowadays,
Yeah.
of course,
Yeah.
with the Ferris wheel. And in the
Yeah.
middle, the compass was with the coat of arms of Kiel. This is the first and I think
Ah, yeah.
only Kiel Week poster which actually has Kiel symbolism in it. Like
Yeah.
actual
Yeah.
official Kiel symbolism. And for that reason, this poster is perfect in my opinion.
Yeah, there's nothing. It's either a sea monster or I think it's Poseidon that's standing in the
Oh yeah, no,
waves.
and I see
You see
Poseidon.
the trident,
It's
and
Poseidon's tail. Yeah, yeah,
I mean, I mean, there's no faux pas here.
yeah,
It's all good. It's really nautically themed. It's Keel all the way with the coat of arms. I totally agree with you there. It's reminiscent of the, a fun time in
yeah,
at least for Europeans in European history, the age of exploration, which was not a fun time for other peoples, but at least for for Europeans, it was,
yeah,
kind of an exciting times to be. And so to reminisce that in 2013 with the kind of style of maps that they used to have back in those days, I mean, it's wonderful. There's nothing wrong with that, and
yeah.
I
It
I
really,
completely like that. Yeah.
it really is. And so we obviously we referenced and talked about the maelstrom or whirlpool poster earlier. If you look in just below the gun with the blowing the wind guy, in
Hmm.
the left, you can actually see little arrows, just like in the other poster. But here they
Yeah,
are
yeah,
actually
yeah.
used well. So this is how you use the
Oh, yeah,
arrows
yeah.
properly, and
And
that's how you don't.
and they are not indicating a maelstrom. I and the
Yeah,
sea, the sea where Poseidon is could look agitated, but it's actually how we used to represent
yeah, I
the
know.
seas back
Yeah,
then. There's also, I think, it kind of looks also like how they would have done it in China,
a
kind of
bit, yeah,
vibes.
a bit, yeah.
But it's probably because Europeans saw what was doing in China and they
The
imported
thing,
it
the
in
reason why this
European
one
maps.
doesn't look agitated to me, I think, is first of all because of the coloring, second
Yeah,
because of the and second j- because of the style of the waves, as you
yeah.
just said, and also because of the context.
They're
It's not like
and
It's not like little sailing ships being swallowed up
no,
by
no, exactly. Yeah.
waves. It's like it's divided. This is like Poseidon with his waves. That's fine, and it's got
And
like fun things around it. Yeah,
there's a constant in the waves, and that's how you know that the
yeah.
sea is calm. It's when you have big variations with the wave that you consider, okay, yeah, it's agitated, but there's a constant.
So far the only the early 2000s or the mid 2000s have actually no, no, not the mid 2000s, the early 2000s, yes, they have been one of the best periods for Kiel Week design, I'd say.
Do you mean the 2010s?
uh yeah, the
Because
2010s.
we're
I
past 2000 now.
I keep mixing up
It's all right.
what's
It's all
what's
right. It's
what's
all right.
supposed to be what.
Yeah,
No,
I get
the
it.
2010s, you're quite right.
Yeah.
There was a good time for Kiel Week posters. Now we're getting back to maybe waves that aren't as friendly as the other ones.
Yep.
I don't hate this poster, but also it's a bit ominous. It's on that border between fun and ominous. The colors maybe save it just a little bit, but the waves are so sharp.
I just don't know what this is about. I have the feeling that this is going to be for the EDM rave that's going to happen.
Oh God.
The bright colors are indicative of big rave parties, and it's not something that you usually
Yeah.
would have. uh I mean, it is breaking with tradition for sure. I don't like that sometimes the W gets out of the green, that the 2014 the 2 goes out of the green.
Hmm.
uh the green is horrible on pink.
Yeah.
It hurts my
Why is there
eyes.
green at all?
Why is there green when there's no green on the poster? It could be sand dunes, mountains, I
True.
don't,
True. It
or
could be
really
anything.
agitated waves.
Yeah.
I don't see it.
Yeah. Again, I don't hate it personally. It
Yeah.
has a lot of problems. I don't quite hate it, but it's also not a good poster per se.
No.
It's on
The
the lower
color scheme is,
spectrum of being decent, you know.
and the pink with the red, to me, at some point you just lose the pink.
That's true in the background, yeah. Yeah.
Or in some of the spikes, you have some of the pink that you don't really see.
Yeah, exactly. They could have gotten rid of the pink or the red.
Hmm.
But it's getting worse. uh, now, yeah, this is just again, this has no meaning at all. Like if the previous one, at least you could interpret the waves in there, but this has no meaning at all.
This is the thumbnail for the Wikipedia's article "Shades of Blue."
Oh yeah, this looks like
You
this looks like one of those color palettes you get like when you're supposed to pick a color.
exactly.
This is all the
Yeah,
different
yeah.
shades of blue we have for sale.
And this is the, I think, the exact one that Wikipedia is using.
Oh
This
no,
is
so they just stole it from
uh,
Wikipedia, or
the
Wikipedia
Wikipedia
stole it from them.
article that is titled "Shades of Blue," and in the thumbnail you have, this is a sample of shades of blue.
Wikipedia shades of
To me, that's
uh oh my god, the semblance is just there's it's almost the same.
that's what it is to
you're
me.
you are right. It's like this is ridiculous.
It, yeah, it's
This is absolutely
unfortunately,
ridiculous.
it's
Still sponsored by Audi, by the way.
yeah.
Okay, so is it gonna get better or worse? What's your guess?
I don't know. I don't want to bet on it.
Oh God, no! It's this one. This is this is the one I called the water the water advertisement, because there's so many water advertisements that have like the water droplets and the bottle behind it. So this looks very similar to something like that.
Yeah.
uh,
I see what you're seeing. I'm seeing the sails, and because I know that in sailing, sometimes the names of the athletes or the country is going to be on the sails like this. Actually, it was the case for the Olympics.
hmm,
The flag was actually like the one of the sails that they use only on one leg of the journey, because they usually do a triangle in sailing at the Olympics. But the other sails, you had kind of the, I think, the last names of the athletes in big, kind of this type of font and stuff like that. So I see it, but I also see the rain, and to me that is where I'm like,
the
do you
rain,
really want to advertise rain?
the rain.
The water droplets to me is a faux pas on this design. But if you look at sales in a sailing competition or something, or a sailing event, these look like it, and to me it works. But you have to know it. You have to
Hmm.
know what it is.
Oh dear God. We've got shapes again. We've got shapes, people. Now, what the shapes mean, I honestly couldn't tell you. I remember, obviously, these are very recent posters. I remember all of them. But I remember from the day I got to look at this the first time, up to now, I've been trying to find some sort of meaning in those shapes, and I have not managed to find any meaning in there whatsoever.
It's the underside of ships. You see that the main one that looks like a plane's wing, that is like in
Ah.
a
Oh.
stabilizer
Oh.
underwater.
Well, congratulations, Mr. Grumlich. It only took me what, 2017. It only took me 7 years to figure it out, and I didn't even do it on my own. Well done. You made a great poster. It was so obvious.
And you see that the others is kind of like the underside
Oh.
of the boat with the rudders and stuff like that. But yes, you have to know about ships
You have
to
to know
know.
about ships. Yeah, this
and
is this is not how you do that. They could have done it
and if
a lot of better
if you
ways.
look back, I think if you look back at the Kingston 1976 poster, you will see that they have done
They
these
did
elements
it
on the
better.
boats.
They did it better, and you
Yeah,
keep messing up. You
but
keep messing up.
but this one, I understand, because sometimes it's the white. You see, like there's a part on the white that it's the rudder and
Yeah,
the
it's
belly of
it's
the
very
ship. On the other,
confusing.
it's the blue. And so all this mix and match has made it, I think, really difficult to understand what it is.
Yeah.
but once you see it, now you see it and you're like, okay, I
But
see it now. It
here's
was
the
really
thing.
hard,
I
but
see it, but it's still confusing me because of what you
oh
just said.
yeah,
Sometimes it's blue, sometimes it's white. I'm
yeah.
seeing it, but it's still confusing the heck out of me.
But I am certain that for 98% of people, they
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
understand yet what it means.
Uh, we've got this. We got a storm again. We're back to the. We got back to the Hunger Games. You know.
Oh yeah, yeah. That the water sprout is going to touch the water, and boats are going to be sucked into this water tornado that's
The
coming.
water tornado. Yeah, this is.
Yeah, yeah. It's a water sprout. I mean, shit's about to go down.
Yeah.
I mean, get
Sponsored
out of the
by,
waters fast.
sponsored by Rave. Rave wants you to die in a.
Oh yeah, yeah.
This is what Rave stands for. Rave wants you to die in a horrible storm. That's what they want to happen to you.
Yeah, because you see the sea is agitated. There's this clear funnel shape that you kind of look for in a major weather storm event that is indicative of a tornado of, or water sprout, and so yeah, yeah, it's about to go down. Yeah,
I mean, I like the style, like the style on its own, but
it's
they should have drawn a completely different image using that style.
it's reminiscent of comics and
Yeah, yeah.
I think there was a rise in comics during those years, manga kind of
Mm,
going all the way, anime and stuff like that, and of course comics in the rest of the world, they were kind of making a comeback, graphic novels. So I guess why this type of
yeah.
style getting mainstream, but it is not like a smooth sailing,
Nope.
picturesque event that's happening right now. No, all these people on the water are in grave danger
Yeah.
as we look at it.
But then again,
But
it hasn't exactly been smooth sailing up to this point either.
yeah, one thing I have to say, I like that they didn't felt constrained by the space allocated for the sponsors,
That's
and
true.
that they decided to go a little bit inside of it.
Mm.
That is actually quite nice. I kind of like that
Yeah,
on the part of the artist.
that's the only plus I'm gonna give them, I guess, and the style on its own.
Yeah,
Now this one is water, because everybody
yeah,
likes water. If you look
yeah.
at the sea, there's actually water inside, and with this poster, they wanted to really express that there is water in the ocean. And
Hmm.
stay hydrated, I guess that's important too.
Yeah.
uh, yeah, it's and with the now I'm
I
a bit confused by something, because didn't we already have 125th Kiel week?
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Uh,
That
because this
was
is
what I was going to
125th.
say. But this
Ho-
one was also up you pass it. It's on the left side, just a little bit down
this
after.
is
Yeah, it's
125
over here.
years.
Yeah.
Oh no, I think I know what they're doing. This is 125 years Kiel week, and then this is the 125th actual Kiel week, because they probably had a break during World War One and Two.
Uh.
So that's probably what they're
Oh
going for
yeah.
here.
But I mean, it's confusing
Yeah, that is
at
confusing,
best.
because if you don't think about that, and most people aren't going to think about that. Didn't we have that a few years
Yeah.
ago?
The one thing though, I mostly read Kill Wall 19. I don't see Killer, I don't see Water, I see only Kill Wall
Yeah,
19
yeah.
because these are the big elements.
It's this looks
Uh,
again. This could be like a water park or a water drinking water advertisement. This could literally be anything to do with water. Uh,
Definitely.
yeah,
Not a fan.
and now we get to something very interesting. So first of all, the first thing that came to my mind when I saw this is it looks like shit. Second of all,
Well,
before we continue with this one, I have to say this is, as you noticed, 2020. This was designed before the whole Corona thing happened.
I hope.
Obviously, once that thing happened, it wasn't exactly fitting to have a skull and crossbones for the year where literally people are dying by the thousands. So they quickly got rid of that design and they replaced it with this thing, and they messed this up too because they kept the same style, which was already horrible in my opinion. And the thing here is supposed to be like a knot of some sort, and it's supposed to
Yeah.
represent people sticking together, and that's actually what it says down here. It says hashtag Zusammenhalt, which means sticking together, which they couldn't even spell in one go. They had to put halt below it, and they put it on black, and it's just. And then they made this one for the next year, because they didn't actually end up doing anything in 2020. I think I don't quite remember. And the next year they used the exact same style again, and yeah. So that's another triarchy of posters. So Chloe, what
Yeah, yeah.
what do you make of that abomination?
Well, even before the pandemic, is a skull and crossbones the best symbol to represent
Oh my
a
god.
fun, nice event, sailing event?
Chloe,
Yeah.
Chloe, are we the baddies?
I mean, I wouldn't wish death on people to go to the kill week, but if the kill week is wishing death on its own people, then it's their own affair.
No, honestly,
Um,
if any of you know what do you know what I'm referencing with that, Chloe? Like, are we the baddies? There's this sketch by the Michael and Webb, no, the Michael and Webb look, I think it's called. It's like this British comedy thing. It's like about two SS soldiers, and one of them notices, they have skulls on their caps, and he asks the other guy, Hans, are we the baddies? And it's they
well,
have this whole discussion about, like, if we have the
yeah,
skulls are kind of bad. It makes you think of like death, disease, dead people, pirates, and then the other guy goes like,
yeah, yeah,
pirates are fun.
yeah, and
Yeah, but even
especially,
then, they're usually the bad guys. And
oh, definitely.
you could
I
you
was
could kind
going
of
to
say the same things
mention.
about this poster.
I was going to mention pirates because with sailing, it's definitely not the theme
Yeah, but they're still the bad
you would
guys.
like to encounter. Oh yeah, in every case, it's the bad guys,
Yeah.
and of course the some of the other elements could, it's. I just don't understand this design firsthand, and then of course with the context of the pandemic,
Yeah.
they had to change it. I would have tried to scrap this design and
Yeah.
try to find something else because it was already a lot, all the red dots and
Yeah, the
everything.
red dots, that's the worst part. They
I
just annoy me immensely.
I I get it. That's how you constructed the design so that it's, and it's reminiscent of some of the, uh, you can have rule books or dotted books and stuff like that, and then you can do really geometrical designs. Fine that you used it for
Yeah,
that,
but
but
who cares?
don't put your geometric
This isn't
key
supposed to
on the
show.
poster.
This isn't supposed to show how
Exactly.
you made it. This is supposed to look good, and you failed with both those things.
I
Even with
am never
yeah.
going to have a poster which is a screenshot of my InDesign workspace.
Yeah,
That to me, it's
absolutely.
how it feels. It's
and
how it
and you
feels.
can see the beginning of that problem I mentioned with the other one, which we're gonna go to, with the black writing,
Ah,
just blending into the blue in the background, and
the the
it's
the
getting
the,
worse
the
here. Like,
if you go back,
yeah,
even also the 20 and the 28, they have dots, but they don't line up with the red
no,
dots.
no. So you couldn't even, you
Hence,
didn't even manage to do that. And if you notice, the 20 and the 28, they also have dots behind them, which mess with the red
yeah,
dots. So
yeah.
this is
Ah,
just
no, it's yeah.
atrocious. And you can't, as I said, you can't even read to Zusammenhalt properly
No,
because
no,
it's just like, this is atrocious. And
I actually like the nut design. If it were by itself on a
yeah,
white background,
yeah,
without the clutter around, it would have been a wonderful design.
yeah. But the rest messes
But
it up. It ruins it.
yeah, unfortunately, they ruined it.
And then this is just a smiley guy. For
Yeah,
the pandemic is over,
Yeah,
and
and it
now we are all
was
happy
over
again.
in 2021, eh?
We are all happy again, It kind of
And
actually,
once again,
if you look at this with the red dots, it kind of look like this guy is also getting a bit sick.
oh yeah, he's got red buttons everywhere,
Jesus
and
Christ.
they make the
Well,
same faux pas with the 4 to 12 September with the dots that don't line up, the September dot which doesn't not line up, and so yeah,
so
no,
yeah,
it does not work.
this series was just incredibly bad, and it just gets worse with this thing, which they basically tried to. Oh yeah, so I have to correct myself. It wasn't the perfect poster we had earlier. It wasn't the only one with the Kiel coat of arms in here. But instead of taking the Kiel coat of arms, for example, and basing something off that, this is the exact opposite of all the minimalist designs we had that
Yeah.
just basically try to cram literally everything they could think of into one poster, and the result is yet another atrocity. That's just, yeah, this is an
What
atrocity.
I see though is that they have taken designs element from the previous posters.
Yeah, they have, which is why I
You
said, they
see
tried to
like
take everything they
yeah,
had, but
but
that's,
sometimes they took the worst elements of some posters.
yeah,
I see the
exactly.
bento box.
Hmm.
I see the reversed cells. I see like the second poster on the bottom left. I see the gradient on the top right. I see the kind of explosion that does not make any sense up there. There's the blowing sails that were blown by the wind.
This is just terrible.
The lines that didn't make any sense. You have the nautical flags. It's
We have the
I
K,
understand that it's kind of an homage to the history of
but it's
Kiel,
not a
but
good homage.
uh, it 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 it's when less is more. This
Mm.
is where I would have advised to less is more. Maybe the color palette is too much, and maybe they should have reduced to
With this poster, Chloe,
just
everything is too much. It's just.
well, yeah, but at the very least, it could have maybe worked with less colors. Maybe it's a big maybe. But yeah, overall, and it's not even an anniversary week. Do it on an anniversary week,
Yeah,
please.
this is just the wrong time, the wrong
And maybe a
designs.
series of poster, and maybe try to come up with a mashup of designs by decades or something like
Yeah,
that, but
something,
not
anything,
try to cramp
anything but this.
in a poster more than 120 poster designs that span from the 1940s, is it?
It's 1946, I believe they started.
Yeah, so from the 1940s until 2020 design,
So it's about 70,
you
70 different
it,
design.
it's too many different eras of design for it to
Yeah,
work.
it just doesn't work, and
Yeah.
ugh, this
Oof,
is
okay.
another optical illusion which completely they messed up completely. As you can see,
I
or if you
c-
maybe you can't see it, if you look on the right, the left side, it says "Moin," which is the traditional greeting up here, and then on the other side it says "Ahoy," which is of course a fairly common maritime greeting,
yeah,
which
yeah.
you can see, I guess, maybe a bit. You can
You,
see the
you
Ahoy
you have
better
to
in
look
Moin
at it.
certainly, but it still looks
You,
atrocious. Even like,
yeah.
and I think it was this poster. I think yeah, I've seen versions of this where they actually split it up into multiple. They split up the quadrants into single posters, which still looks terrible, but it also ruins the whole point of the poster, which is to be words and stuff. So and
Yeah,
complete
if they
another
did split
failure.
up the poster, it's even worse than I imagined. But yeah,
Yeah.
wow, that is
Um.
there's a lot there.
Yeah. So we had two posters now, which had a lot on it. So the next designer tried to do the opposite.
Yeah, that
We're back to a
is.
gradient, and it's nothing. It's just nothing.
I said for the other poster that I would be able to do it on InDesign for a couple minutes. This one I could probably do it in 2 3 minutes
Yeah, this is
at best, depending
zero
on if my
effort.
computer has some trouble or not
Zero
rendering. But
effort.
it shouldn't have any problems rendering a single gradient square and a gradient on the typeface, which looks like it's something quite boring. Like I think it's something like Calibri or maybe even a Noto, or
Mm.
it's a free font. There's no effort
And there,
whatsoever. I think.
the gradient is kind of swallowing it again. And you can, if you're looking at it from afar, it's getting hard to tell what it actually says. If you
Yeah, yeah.
squint
Oh,
your
definitely. I
eyes,
mean,
it's yeah.
the big mistake there was to put the gradient on the font, the typeface, and the
Yeah,
message.
yeah. It's
To me, you
to
lose information.
what this looks like to me, honestly. What I would interpret this is it's a fog above the sea, and the fog is swallowing up the text as well. It's like
Yeah.
from the movie, the fog. Uh,
Or
this is not good. This is not good.
or as I look down the poster, it looks like I'm sinking.
Yeah,
But that's
yeah.
the other thing.
It's not inviting in any case. Oh
No,
yeah, and this is another. This is not a poster. Don't worry, this is not a poster.
I did not consider that it was a
Okay, so
poster.
this is 2024. So the finalist, of course, is 2025, and oh, it won't load. Oh, there's a video about it. We don't need to watch the video. I just want to have the poster. There we go. And now I sent Chloe privately. I sent Chloe a picture of this collection, this big poster, which had all of the different posters we looked like on it, and all the way at the bottom, much bigger than all the other posters, was the current poster. Because Kiel marketing, they like to sell all of the Kiel Week posters, they like to sell all the previous designs as posters because people love looking at them, of course, because they're so absolutely beautiful. And they sell every year. They sell a poster with all the previous posters, and they current poster is bigger than the other ones, but with this one, from afar, it looks like a QR code. So it looked like it was. It didn't look like it was the latest poster. It looked like there was a big QR code in the corner. Because it was in the corner too, you were supposed to like scan it to get more information about the poster or whatever. Like this is. And even
Yeah,
if you look at it like this without the QR code context, like it's just squiggly lines. It's just squiggly lines. What's in God's name are they
definitely.
thinking?
Yeah. You can see a couple of elements like the music notes, the kind of sun, a
What
couple
music notes?
sails.
What music notes?
There are some music
Oh,
notes
there.
on the
Yeah, now I'm seeing
poster.
them. Now, if you can find the
There
music
are a
notes.
couple of sails. There are also a couple of both underbellies. But I agree with you
Yeah, they
that less
just
is more. And
they
I've read
swallow
about the
up.
poster, and they say that it spells Kiwo, like
What?
the shortened form of Killer and Wache.
Again, where's that supposed to
But you
be?
have to see it. You have to see it.
Yeah.
Okay, look from the top left,
Yeah.
and then go down to, you see the first one that ends like in a W, in a Y. Then there's the other one that is just as quickly. But the third one that is
Oh,
like a
okay.
K, and it goes and it goes and it goes
I
up and up
think
and
I
up.
can kind of see it, but that, like, if you don't know that, like, the music notes and the sales, if you look at it for a long time, you can spot them, although they get really get
Yeah,
swallowed up by the rest. But that thing, you need to know it's there to spot it. You
yeah.
need to
It's
know.
the one that ends with an O
Yeah,
and
it's
a
up
small
here,
line after.
right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
that's
That's
just
the one, and it's repeated
atrocious.
in on the poster. But I mean, and I had to read about it
Yeah.
to know that.
So,
If I did not read about the poster,
mm.
I wouldn't have been able to know about
So
this.
just another abysmal failure, I'd say. And here's the worst thing about these posters: they use them on things. They use them on designs. I don't know. I thought this was supposed to be designs. Here you can actually see it. This is
Oh
how they
yeah, yeah.
use it. This is how they use the
Let's see
bloody
that
posters.
that's where I saw the keyword. That's where I saw the
Oh yeah,
keyword.
there we
The
go. It's on here, but yeah, you see that on a big, you see that on the as a poster, and you think to yourself, what is this modern art exhibition? And they put it on flags too. like they fly this on flags. I would kill myself rather than use this as a flag. This is like a crime. Would you put it on your car? Like you see
I
here
would
at the top,
not.
at the bottom left. This is a they put it on a car. Would you put this on a car? I wouldn't.
But look down, look down, look down
Yeah.
at the picture. On the square thing, it looks like a QR code.
Yeah, it looks like it's a QR code. On the
Yeah,
here on the
on the
glass too. This
cups.
is
Yeah,
like a
yeah,
QR code.
yeah,
Do not
yeah,
drink more, scan the bloody code.
yeah,
And there's
exactly.
more. There are more things. They put it on everything. They have it on ties for some reason, and most of the design isn't even on the tie. And again, here like
Exactly.
scan the guy's back to get the QR code or whatever. It's
I think that their chair is hilarious though.
it's yeah. It's
It
so
makes no sense.
it makes no sense. So it's terrible designs. Sorry, Mr. Tamti, but you should go do something else instead of designing Kiel Week posters. But yeah,
Well, I mean, if you want to put this in a contemporary museum, fine.
yeah, maybe
But don't
if
go
you
and
wanna be
start merchandising it.
yeah
That to me,
if you wanna be a modern artist, go do that, but don't try to tell us this is supposed to be a poster for a maritime sailing week.
no, exactly.
So, yeah, Chloe. Conclusively, what do we make of this?
Well, there were mostly bad designs, or at the very least, designs which, you know, their aim was not to advertise for a maritime week. It was probably more to show where we were technologically, where art
Hmm.
was at that time. Um, but some were actually quite nice, quite good, quite interesting. And I think the ones that really got our attention more and that we kind of liked more were the ones that were actually doing their job as posters,
Yeah.
to advertise, catch the eye, and, have all the information being readable. Because a lot of them, the information was not readable. And to me, that is, I think, a design flaw. But when you understand that the purpose is exactly not to advertise, it is to have something that showcases where we are artistically and stuff like that. Okay, maybe,
Yeah, but then
but they are
honestly,
definitely
what's the
but they are the
point?
product of their years.
But if the purpose of the poster isn't to advertise, what's the
What's
point?
the purpose of
What's the
the
bloody point to
poster?
it? If and even
Yeah.
like I personally I think even if the posters if you argue it's like supposed to just be a symbol, for Kiel Week every year,
Hmm.
even then it should have some advertisement elements to it because people
Yeah.
should see what it is for. But it doesn't look good on the designs either. At least, in my opinion, it doesn't look good. I mean, on the items either. You wouldn't put this on
Yeah.
your stuff.
Definitely.
I
No.
yeah. I personally think my conclusion is, Kiel Week. First of all, Kiel Week posters should focus less on trying to show off some fancy new design tricks and trying to show off fancy designs. They should focus on trying to show what Kiel is. They should try to advertise Kiel. They should try advertise
Hmm.
sailing and Kiel Week and not some abstract concepts. And then second,
Yeah.
this I don't know if we mentioned this, but Kiel Week posters are not designed by the common man. These things are designed by invite
Hmm.
only. This
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
a behind the scenes closed door
Hmm.
thing, basically from the top to the bottom. And for a modern day democracy like Germany, that is a very, very bad thing to do, I'd say. This is like a collective festival we share every year here in Kiel, and you're telling
Hmm.
me that we can't even choose what the poster looks like. I'm not saying there should be like an election each year trying to choose the poster, but at the very least, you could have an open design contest each year where people
Hmm.
can send in their designs, and then some experts or like some randomly appointed people, maybe there are different um, some different things we could try there, could select a poster out of those. It wouldn't be that honestly, it wouldn't be that difficult.
Yeah.
um, it doesn't need to be this elitist thing behind closed doors, and
Hmm.
it it also tells us about the problem Germany has in general. A lot of the things in Germany, and I mean probably in many democracies around the world, happen behind closed doors. A lot of things are
Yeah.
shut off from the general public, and that is why the people in those countries lose their faith in democracy. Yes, we get to go elect our representative every 4 years or
Hmm.
5 years or whatever it is in other countries,
Yeah.
but during those 4 years, they do whatever they want and they don't listen to the people anymore. And sometimes they don't even listen to the people at all. And the one thing that the Kiel Week posters show us, I know it's a kind of a stretch, but the one thing in the end the Kiel Week posters show us is we need more democracy. We need more input from the people. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, that's my concluding statement.
You touch on a really interesting topic about effectively art and the safeguarding in art. The fact that it's usually the same clique that self reproduces, and that kind of gatekeeps
Mm.
the art to I say safeguarding, but it's gatekeeping that I was looking for. So to gatekeep the who can be and who cannot be an artist. And unfortunately, there are not that many places where common folk could submit designs and maybe get chosen and have the opportunity of showcasing what they can do. And because art usually comes from the art and soul, and it's really sometimes difficult, I think, when there are so many constraints imposed, like for instance that you need to be an invitee. How do you and when you're an invitee, how do you feel the art you're about to produce, when you maybe you've never been to Kiel Week, maybe you don't know about the region, maybe you don't know about the history, about the people. So how can you make a meaningful design for the people and for the people to enjoy? Because yes, the art belongs to the artist, but there's also, I think, if you want to share it, you need to connect with people. People need to
Exactly.
feel things, and if they only feel hate towards the design, I think that's not a good thing. The other thing you mentioned, which is interesting, is the commercialization of art. It's fine that I think you have a poster. Maybe you can agree that it's an elite thing, but when you start to merchandise that art, it feels disingenuous, and it feels like, okay, so the poster was not just the entirety of the thing. You wanted something that could be commercial, that could be put on the market and that people could purchase and try like that. So which is also what we see, I think, with the sponsorship. It's that there is all this capitalist and market aspect to the design, which to me I think defeats the purpose. If it, I feel like it's trying to be too many things at the same time. It's trying to be an art contest, but it's not really open contest. It
Yeah.
tries to be a merchandise thing, but it's not fully embracing it, or it's embracing it really, really badly. And it's also trying to promote a week, but not entirely. And it's kind of trying, it has too many goals for it to be cohesive. It should be just one thing. It should be either just an art design, just a poster to advertise a week. It should be just merchandising, but not all of these things together. That, I think, to me is why it feels sometimes disingenuous, or sometimes it feels that it misses the mark when it comes to the design we've looked at.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So that was those were our concluding statements. I guess then, yeah, I guess a bit of design, and at the end it devolved into social political commentary. But I still hope you enjoyed
But
watching this and hearing us rant about design and posters. I know emotions got a little heated there, but yeah, this wasn't supposed to hate on the designers and stuff, even though it was a bit heated. It was just supposed to give our opinions, our private opinions on these posters. And last but not least, if anyone from Kiel happens to be watching this, which is highly unlikely, but if anyone does happen to be watching this, um, make your voice be heard. I will certainly try to make my voice be heard and make your voice be heard too, and tell the people running this city that this poster needs to be given to the people to whom it belongs, and not be some um, closed door clique gatekeeping thing that never gets to touch the people before it's finalized and agreed upon. Um, that's what we need in the end. So thank you very much for watching this video, and Chloe, thank you so much for being here with me together to support me emotionally while having to look at a lot of these things.
Well, thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure to talk about this. And with the social comment, I mean, art is political, whether you want it or not, or you like it or not. So it had to end on that note.
Yeah. Oh, and once again, just wanted to state again, our private opinions. If you think these posters were all fantastic and they all look beautiful and they were the best things you've ever seen, fair enough, and that's your opinion. You can keep your opinion. I don't have a problem with that. And if you have a specific poster like you feel we unfairly rated, or you disagree with us. Just let us know in the comments, and we can discuss the pros and cons of some of the designs if you like. But thanks again for
yeah, I think that's the only place where these succeed. It's that art is usually a sparker of conversations, and I think they achieved that.
And I would love to spark some conversations on these posters personally. But yeah, thank you again for watching. Thank you for being here, Chloe, and auf Wiedersehen. Goodbye.